Next time you're at the dollar store, pick up a couple of charger plates and a margarita glass. Start by spray painting the charger plates. I went back to the dollar store and picked up some melamine plates. I spray painted these and let them dry completely. Take one of the charger plates and with a hot glue gun, glue 4 beads equidistant apart in the center of the plate. Put some hot glue onto the tops of those wood beads and press the bottom of the second charger plate on top. I took each of the wood beads and with a little hot glue, glued them side by side at a slight angle into the crevice between the 2 charger plates. Remember that margarita glass? Apply a ring of hot glue onto the bottom of the glass and toward the edge. Press the glass to the center of the beaded charger plates until it's secure. Then apply a thin band of hot glue to the rim of the glass. Take the smaller beaded plates and press them onto the center of the glass.
Grab a glass bowl from the dollar store. I'm going to place it upside down on a wood round. Then I'm going to surround the bowl with wood beads. I found these strings of beads at the dollar store. Place a bead of glue around the bowl and then attach the beads. Once the glue is completely dry, I can pull the bowl out of the center. Now I picked up another smaller bowl at Dollar Tree. I am going to place this on the bottom of the wood round to create a pedestal. Now I'm going to grab a larger wood bead and just fill the holes with some air dry clay to create a solid round ball. Give it a coat of spray paint. With everything dry, I'm gluing the larger bead to the bottom of the glass bowl. Then I can just place this bowl right on top of that pedestal.
Head to Dollar Tree and pick up 9 small wood crates and stain them with wood stain. Take 3 wood stir sticks and stain them as well. Next, glue the crates together with 3 in a row. Then stack and glue each row to the top of the first row. Cut the stir sticks to the right size and hot glue them to the front bottom of each row of the crates. Add 4 wood beads with hot glue to create a base. Then use a screwdriver to attach the drawer label holders to the stir sticks. Head to Dollar Tree and pick up 4 small wood crates, 2 small floating shelves. Take the white paint for all 4 crates. Assemble 2 crates together with hot glue and then attach to the second shelf upside down with more hot glue. Take fairy lights and weave it through the holes of the wood crates. Attach the second level of the combined wood crates and do the same thing with the fairy lights. To cover up the seams, take rhinestone ribbon and glue into place. Take craft mirror tiles, cut them to size, hot glue into place, and then remove the protective cover. Head to Dollar Tree and pick up plastic storage drawers, hot glue them together, and then attach each stack to each other from the side. Take wood cubes and hot glue them under the drawers. Take 4 mirrors and hot glue them to the sides and the top. Add beads. Take 4 more mirrors. Take paint stir sticks and hot glue them to the backs of the mirrors to attach them all together. And glue nautical rope to the edges. Add the mirrors to the upper portion of a paper towel holder and then place the holder back under the drawers.
I grabbed 2 of these wood hangers. I'm pulling off the rope. I'm going to cover the front of the wood piece with the shelf liner, and then I'm just going to fold the edges over the sides. Grab 4 picture frames. These square ones work best. And then use a pliers to pull out the fasteners. Use some hot glue to attach 2 blocks to the bottom of the frame. Then glue the second frame to the other side of the blocks. You're going to do this twice with a total of 4 frames. Now we have all the pieces to assemble our shelf.
Take a bowl and cover the bottom in plastic wrap. Next, use a sponge brush and Mod Podge. Cover the entire bowl base with Mod Podge on the plastic wrap. Take rope and begin from the center of the base and wind it around towards the outer part of the bowl. Once completely dry, remove rope layer from the bowl and any excess plastic wrap.
We are going to start with 7 of these bowls. You're also going to need some E6000. Just basically go around. You're going to place it on top. We're going to do this again. So I'm going to give these a little bit of time to cure. I'm going to be taking my E6000 and I'm going to go around the top of this, stack it on top, and we're going to do this one more time. I am using Dixie Belle Vintage Duck Egg Chalk Paint. So I'm actually going to use E6000 for this step. Line it up. And then we're going to let that sit until it dries. And we are going to trace around the inside of the hole that I created. You actually will not need to paint the underside, just the sides and the top. I'm going to start with the bottom part, tilt that up. So we are going to take a solar light, placing it over, put the top part of our solar light, and it's going to nestle right in.
grab 2 bamboo cutting boards, 4 glass jars, 2 napkin holders from the Dollar Tree. Add some strong adhesive glue to the 2 metal bars on the bottom of the napkin holder and adhere it to the center of the bamboo cutting board. Then add some more strong adhesive glue and then adhere the glass jars on each side. Allow everything to set and dry overnight and add some wall adhesive strips to the back.
I got both of my bowls from the Dollar Tree. So essentially what we're trying to do is we're gonna glue them base to base. I'm gonna be using E6000 and I'm gonna be using my hot glue gun. So I'm gonna be using chalk paint, honeycomb, folk art craft paint. We're gonna be putting some baking soda in here mixed. We're gonna apply it to the bowl. All right, so we're gonna be using a stone colored Rust-Oleum textured finish paint. We are going to be grabbing about 4 of these candles from Dollar Tree. We are going to melt them. And I took the wicks out and I placed them where I wanted. I'm using skewers to secure it in place. I'm going to be adding my melted wax into this. And I'm actually going to be using a scented lavender.
Next time you're at Dollar Tree, scoop up some of the white wire baskets and grab yourself a paper towel holder. Then I'm going to take the paper towel holder and place it on the bottom and then cut out the wire basket just in the middle. You're going to slide it over top and then you're going to secure it in place with some zip ties at the bottom. You're next going to take your second wire basket and cut out the middle. You're going to place it on your paper towel holder and then you're going to place some zip ties around the paper towel holder to give it a little bit of a ledge to sit on. Then you're going to come in with some E6000 and then you can spray paint it your favorite color. On one of my most recent trips to Dollar Tree, I came across these glass bowls and as well I spotted these cool margarita glasses. I'm going to take some E6000 and I'm going to spread it around on the bottom of the margarita glass. And then I'm also going to apply some E6000 on the bottom of one of the glass bowls. Then I'm going to place it on top. I'm going to leave this to set. In the meantime, I'm going to take my second glass bowl and I'm going to take some E6000 and I'm going to take an old drawer pull and then place that on top.
Head to Dollar Tree and pick up wood blocks, 2 wood trays, 2 larger frames, and 2 5x7 frames. Take 4 wood blocks and hot glue them to the underside of one of the frames. Paint both frames. Take 2 wood trays and paint them white. Once dry, add a border of gold washi tape to the top. Next, take wood skewers and cut them to size. Hot glue them to each side of the underside of the frames. Hot glue 2 large gold metal rings to the side of the frames on parallel sides. Glue the second frame to the top side of the rings. Cut down paint stir sticks to fit the interior part of the frame and cover them with gold washi tape. Unwrap the 5x7 frames, remove the glass, and place the glass on both levels.
2 blue buckets that I found at Dollar Tree, cutting the handles off, glue them together. I'm stacking my other bowl on top of it. We're gonna take our pool noodles and we're gonna start cutting them in half, putting enough glue and then holding the pool noodle in place to form the shape. I'm taking caulk, adding it to the indentations between my pool noodles, but I'm just gonna be painting this entire thing white. Stone spray paint, and we are going to spray it.
You're going to need 4 tiny pots. Mine are 2 inches, a medium pot, and a large pot. You're also going to need a saucer. I cleaned them up, pulled off the price tags, and now I'm going to paint them. I'm using a white chalk paint. It absorbs nicely and dries quickly. Once all the pots are painted and everything is dry, I'm going to start drawing on some details. I'm going to turn these into cows. So I need to make the spots for the cows, and I'm just going to draw those in with a pencil and then paint on some brown paint. You can freehand this, you can get creative and really do whatever you want with these spots. While that's drying, I'm going to grab some rope. This is clothesline from Dollar Tree. You could also use some brown rope as well, whatever you choose. I'm going to tie a knot on one end and trim off the excess. Now I'm going to attach the knot to the top of the smallest pot. Now on the saucer, this is going to be the nose of the cow, so we want to draw and paint some little nostrils. Then on the medium pot, we're going to draw some eyes. I'm starting with a pencil, and then I'm going to go in with black and white paint markers to finish this off. To add ears, I'm using craft foam because this is going to be nice and durable. Now we can start putting this together. So I'm using that really strong craft glue again. This is just like an E6000. It's going to hold everything together and keep it secure. And then on the back, I'm going to glue on the ears. For the arms and legs, I'm going to thread the rope through the whole of the body, tie it into a knot, and use some glue to secure it. And then for the legs, I'm going to glue them to the inside of the bottom. Finally, for the head, I'm going to put this in place and glue it and put something heavy on it to hold it in place. If you want to keep these outside, be sure to spray everything with a waterproof sealer beforehand. Otherwise, these are going to hold up just fine inside.
I took a couple of pots and played with how I could get them to fit together. I would put one pot inside of a larger one and then add the bottom tray and then put another pot on top. Once I determined which my top pot would be, I needed to work on sealing up the drain holes. I used a hot glue gun to seal up the holes at the bottom, but then I was worried that maybe that wasn't going to hold over time, so I ended up taking a layer of Flex Seal and spraying it on the inside as well. I checked to make sure that my pot was watertight, and then I was ready to go. I set everything outside and started to build my fountain. I filled it up with water, and then I decided to add some decorative elements to the outside of my pots. Since I wanted the fountain to work by itself outside and I didn't want to worry about changing batteries, I purchased a solar-powered fountain. I was able to just drop this in place and it started working right away. I wanted to decorate it to go with my fall decor, and so I used some leaves and a few other things just to kind of cover up any rough spots on the pot and to make it look decorative and festive and perfect for my holiday decor. And here's how it looks once I integrated it into my fall decor. You can really decorate this for anything. I think I might do a similar project at Christmas time and use some of that spray Christmas snow kind of stuff to cover the pots and then adorn it on the outside as well. You can really let your imagination run wild. I hope this inspired you to create an outdoor fountain of your own.
We're going to begin with 4 6-inch pots. Then what we're going to do is we're going to spray paint them. So we're going to place some cold glue all the way around the surface of this, and then we're going to take our second pot and stack it just like that. I also painted a version in this gloss green. Now we have some cold glue on top of the buttons, and now we can place them right to the pot. So that is going to simulate our eyes. Of course, this is cold glue, so you do want to make sure it cures for about 24 hours before placing this outdoors. Now we're going to place our second eye, just like so. So for the hair, I have some orange yarn, and I think this would be kind of colorful and whimsical and fun. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take our yarn and we're going to fold it over a bunch of times. So let's just see how long we want our hair to be. And I think that's a good length, about 14 inches or so. Then we can move our pot, and all we have to do is just continue to gather up our yarn, and then we can cut the ends once we're finished. So we're going to want to do this a bunch of times. Once you have your desired amount of hair, you're going to cut it off. And then we're going to cut a length of yarn, and we're going to tie this right in the middle. And that's going to keep all of our hair secured. Now what we can do is we can cut off all of the ends. So we're just going to go throughout and make sure they're all snipped so each hair is individual. Now we're going to feed that yarn through the middle of the head until the hair is just sitting on either end. Now that we have our body in place, all we're going to do is add some of that cold glue to the surface and then place the head right on top with this extra piece of yarn, with the glue in between this to keep the hair in place. We also painted little arms, and we're going to just secure those right to the side and place an arm on the other side. Now we're going to take this adorable dollar store hat and place it right on top to finish off our witch. And I think for $1, that was the perfect finishing touch, as now our witch is complete. And how cute did this turn out, you guys? What an inexpensive project. And here's how it turned out, you guys. I absolutely love it. So I'm going to place this in my home, but I wanted to quickly show you how it looks outside. I think this is absolutely awesome as yard decor. Very inexpensive, very easy to do, and the perfect decoration. So think for other seasons and holidays too. You can do a Santa, you can do a ghost, you can do so many different things.
Grab a few terracotta pots and saucers to make a decorative feature for your backyard or patio. Start by applying clear spray sealant to the 14-inch saucer on both sides. You'll apply 2 coats and let it dry. Then drill a hole into the bottom of the 7-inch saucer and the 6-inch pot. Use a round file to file 4 notches in the lip of the 6-inch pot, making sure that one of the notches is large enough for the fountain cord to run through. Then file 4 notches in the lip of one of the 5-inch saucers and 1 notch in the lip of the 7-inch saucer. Place the fountain pump on the 14-inch saucer and place the 6-inch pot upside down over it to cover, making sure the cord runs through one of the openings. Slide the fountain tubing up through the hole and set it on top of the pot, and seal with the silicone sealer. Let dry overnight. Take the 5-inch saucer with the 4 notches and place it upside down on top of the tubing to cover. Turn the 4-inch pot upside down and place it next to the 6-inch pot. Notch the second 5-inch saucer and place it on top of the 4-inch pot. Place the third 5-inch saucer upside down next to the 4-inch pot. Notch the fourth 5-inch saucer and place it on top. Fill the 14-inch saucer with water, plug in the fountain and turn it on. Turn the saucers as needed to adjust the water flow. Add moss, potted plants, and decorative stones to finish the look, and enjoy your fountain.
At my local Walmart, I picked up a terracotta pot, some paint, and styrofoam balls, and we're going to turn this into some really cool yard decor. And the first thing we have to do is paint our pot. So I'm going to remove the lid and simply just pour the paint right on. Then we're going to take an inexpensive paintbrush and just start painting the pot. We're going to make sure to cover all of the sides. You can leave the inside natural, but we do want to make sure that we have an even coverage and sometimes multiple layers of paint so that we don't see the terracotta underneath. So I did 2 coats of that Kelly green as a base coat, and then we came back in with a lighter green, and that I just used the same Kelly green with a little bit of white, and we drew the belly, and then we also came back in with some polka dots. As you can see, they're not even, they're not precise, but I think it turned out very, very cute. So now it's time to paint a mouth. Now I have some black paint and then just a more detailed paintbrush. We're going to dip that in. No need to pour this out on a plate or anything. And we're going to paint the mouth. So now I did a second coat, and what we're going to do now is add the little caps on the mouth. So we're going to just take our paintbrush and do 2 little lines. Now we have some pink, and of course we've got to add the frog's tongue. So I'm just going to take our paintbrush, the same paintbrush, a finer detailed one, dip it in the paint, and as you can see, it's going to take multiple layers. Now I have some of these that I picked up from Walmart. These are just smaller styrofoam balls, and they come in all different sizes as well. So we're going to need 2 of them, and we're going to come back to the black paint, and we're going to create a black circle right in the middle. Just like that. Now that we have the eyeballs painted, I'm going to take a little bit of hot glue from my glue skillet and apply it to the bottom of the styrofoam ball. And then right on the top, which happens to be the bottom of the terracotta pot, I'm just going to place it right there. And we'll do the same thing to a second ball and place it right here. And for the final touch, we have a couple black pipe cleaners, and you can find all sorts of pipe cleaners and the cutters we're using today from nicksseasonaldecor.com. And we're just going to snip them about an inch or so long. Now I'm going to take our fake little eyelashes that we just made, and I'm going to place them right above the eyes. So I broke down 1 pipe cleaner, and that is going to be more than enough. We don't really need too many eyelashes. Just a few pieces will do. And here's how our terracotta frog turned out, and I absolutely love it. What an easy project, you guys. All we used was 1 terracotta pot, 2 styrofoam balls, 1 pipe cleaner, and a little bit of paint. Some of these ingredients you might already have on home. Thank you all so much for watching. I absolutely love the way this looks in my garden. I'm Nick Kretikos of Nick's Seasonal Decor, and you're watching me on Hometalk.
You're gonna love these genius organizing hacks using 5 containers I found at the dollar store. I found this little clear jar with a lid. It's intended to be a candy jar, but I thought it would also work so well for organizing dishwasher pods under my kitchen sink. If you find these little book bins at the dollar store, they can be used for so many things beyond books. Turn them on their side and fill them up with water bottles. This makes it so much easier to grab a bottle. You can quickly see everything at a glance so you're not digging through the whole cabinet, and nothing will get lost in the far back, never to be seen again. If you're hosting a party, look for these little caddies the next time you're at the dollar store. The 3 compartments in this caddy are awesome for organizing all kinds of things, and I have 2 ideas for you today when you're hosting parties. Another way to use this caddy during a party is as a little holder for your s'more supplies. Carry it outside to the campfire and you're all set for a night of making s'mores around the fire. If you're tired of your kids constantly asking for snacks, create a snack bin using one of these large tubs from the dollar store. If you tend to buy snacks in bulk for the whole month, this is a helpful way to make them last longer and ration them out week by week instead of them all being eaten in week 1.
Head to the dollar store aisle with all of the baskets and grab one of those square, clear caddies, the kind that has 2 clips on the bottom. Fill it with items that you use often and that you want to see clearly when you open the door. When you're in the dollar store aisle, full of all those plastic bins, grab a cleaning supply bin that has different compartments and a handle. Fill the basket with baking items that you use frequently and arrange them in the caddy. Things like vanilla extract, baking powder, cooking spray, measuring spoons. Now you have an organized caddy of baking items that you can grab easily in one fell swoop from a kitchen cupboard. Pick up a set of 2 narrow plastic caddies at the dollar store. Clear some space in a kitchen drawer that is close to your coffee maker or teapot. Fill the caddies with individual coffee pots, tea bags, powdered water flavorings, some spoons, and even some paper napkins. The next time you are enjoying coffee or tea with friends, pull the already organized beverage caddies from your drawers and have everything available for your guests. Grab some wide baskets that are just a few inches tall at the dollar store. Open up those cupboard doors in your kitchen and take a good look at all those food cans and boxes that always seem to be disorganized. Fill one of your baskets with all of your canned goods. Group like items together and place them in the basket with the labels facing the same direction. Fill the second basket with all of your box mixes. Place the taller boxes on one side with the shorter ones in front of them. Place your baskets of cans and boxes in your cupboard or pantry drawer and always be able to find what you need on the spot. I hope this inspired you to organize your kitchen with inexpensive bins from the dollar store.
Take 2 wire cabinet shelves and 2 plastic bins. Bend the legs of the shelves towards the center. Place wire shelves in the rectangular bins. Place storage container lids in the grooves to make them accessible. Now you have the perfect plastic storage container organization. Take 2 wire shower caddies and weave them together, top pieces towards each other. They should meet at the edges of the bottom. Use zip ties to attach them to each other and on the sides to keep them connected. Cut the zip tie tails. Remove all pans from cooking storage and place shower caddies. Now you have the perfect storage for cooking pans, baking sheets, and cutting boards. Take wire shelves and use them for more efficient storage for your dinner plates and bowls. Take tiered shelves and make all your tumblers and mugs easier to find. There you have it, a cheap way to create your own smart storage for your kitchen for less than $20. I hope this inspired you to try these cheap kitchen organization ideas. Take plastic frames purchased from Dollar Tree and remove the paper inserts and the plastic wrap. Take the frames and lay them face up in rows next to each other in a drawer. Place spices on top of them in rows for an organized look. Take a broom handle, wrap it in macrame string. Take gold baskets from Dollar Tree and zip ties. Zip tie and secure the baskets to the broom handle. Take 2 command hooks for brooms and place them on the wall sideways. Pop the broom handle with baskets attached in and allow time for the command hangers to fully stick to the wall. There you have it, 2 cheap ways to create your own easy kitchen storage organization for spices and produce in your home. I hope this inspired you to try either of these DIY organizing projects.
I grabbed 2 of these wood hangers. You can find these in the crafts section. I'm pulling off the rope. We don't need that. Then I'm cutting a piece of shelf liner. I really like this one with the marble pattern on it. I'm going to cover the front of the wood piece with the shelf liner, and then I'm just going to fold the edges over the sides. I'm repeating this twice, so I have 2 pieces of wood covered in this marble pattern. Grab 4 picture frames. These square ones work best. Remove the insides, the glass, the cardboard, and the backing, and then use a pliers to pull out the fasteners. Now you're going to use a couple blocks from the tumbling tower set. Use some hot glue to attach 2 blocks to the bottom of the frame, then glue the second frame to the other side of the blocks. You're going to do this twice with a total of 4 frames. Now we have all the pieces to assemble our shelf. Using some hot glue, slide the first shelf through the stands that we made with these picture frames and secure it in place. Then secure the second shelf on top of the frames. I'm using this in my kitchen to organize my coffee supplies and just make it look nice. I hope this inspired you to create a cute shelf from Dollar Tree.
Do you need to organize your fridge too? Well then, grab some containers from your local Dollar Tree store and let's get started. As you can see here, my fridge was in bad shape and had been neglected for some time. So to start, we simply removed all the food and drinks from the fridge. Then we started wiping down all the shelves to get rid of any food debris. We also removed all the shelves that we could and washed them in warm, soapy water, being sure to get rid of any stains on them. Then, using the containers we got from the Dollar Tree, we started adding our food and drinks back into the fridge. The little containers were perfect for our drinks and the bigger ones were perfect for our fresh fruit. We placed them on the shelves and in the drawers too. Now this is a much easier way to stay organized, and I love the way our fridge looks now thanks to these containers from the Dollar Tree.
Head to Dollar Tree and pick up 2 bamboo cutting boards, 4 mason jars, and some rope. Take hot glue and attach the long edges of the cutting board together. Then take hot glue and attach the mason jars to the boards, evenly spaced on both sides of the boards. Take a Lazy Susan from Amazon and glue the bottom of the jars and the bottom edge of the boards to the center of the Lazy Susan. Once secure, begin wrapping rope around the jars and the boards in a circular fashion. There you have it, a cheap way to create your own DIY kitchen organization on a budget. I hope this inspired you to try this project in your home.
I grabbed this towel rod for the best kitchen hack. I used a stud finder to locate the studs. I wanted to drill at least one end of the towel rack into the studs. I put one end of the towel rack on, placed the level on top, and marked where the other side of the towel rack needed to be so that the rod would be level. For this side, I used drywall anchors to ensure a strong hold. Then I grabbed some black shower curtain rings, placed them on the towel rack, and hung my favorite cutting boards and frying pan. Now I have modern kitchen decor that was so quick and easy. I hope this inspired you to create your kitchen hanging rod.
First thing we're gonna need to do is take a pool noodle and just put a slice right down the center of it. We're gonna use this to add it on top of your hula hoop. So I'm just gonna take a couple zip ties just to make sure I secure the pool noodle onto the hula hoop. Now we're gonna go ahead and add some florals to the hula hoop. And I'm just gonna take a zip tie and zip it on. Next, we're gonna just go around and fill in all the other places with some beautiful florals and greenery because we wanna cover up the pool noodle. Now I've taken a ribbon and had 3 strands cut evenly and tie this onto here so that way this design will hang.
I'm going to start with a zip tie and I'm going to place that on the top of my chair and secure it like so. I'm going to take my cutters, I'm going to trim the stem and snip it. We're going to just snip them off into smaller pieces. Now we're going to take our greenery that we've already pre-cut and we're going to work them in opposite direction. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our sunflowers. We're going to place one in one direction, another in the opposite direction, and our third kind of somewhere in the middle. We also have a few of those leaves that we can work in at this point too. And I'm just feeding the zip tie through my hand and securing it from the front and snip off the excess. Now I'm going to take an extra zip tie and secure it to the original zip tie and the swag itself. Now it's time to fluff this out.
I'm going to just start and wrap this over and under the front edge. I'm going to take my wisteria and I'm going to lay it here the way I want, and then I'm just going to take zip ties. Those will hold securely even in the wind. I'm just going to tuck that down out of the way for right now. Now these are more like a wisteria bush, and I'm going to spread this out a little, and I'm just going to add this one right to the middle in the front right here. And I'm just going to continue to add these right along the front like so. I bought some beautiful silk peony bushes, and I'm going to cut them apart, spread these out, and I'm going to tuck these right in for some beautiful color.
I found these candlestick holders. Now I'm going to come back in with a very generous amount of hot glue. So after giving that a few minutes, we can design with some flowers and greenery. And lastly, our element of surprise, and that involves a charger plate. Here we have a child's hula hoop that we picked up at the dollar store. So in order to secure our flowers, we're going to have to work in a pool noodle. And all we're going to do is cut through one side of the pool noodle. So what we're going to do is open it up and work it right inside the hula hoop. And we're going to circulate the pool noodle all the way around. So once you get all the way around, you're going to notice that we have a little spot missing. We're going to cut into a second pool noodle and do the same exact process. We can just take some tape and we're going to secure the 2 pieces together. Now I just have some white satin ribbon. To secure it, I'm going to use a couple floral pins and I'm going to add some hot glue to the ends to really make sure it's nice and permanent. Now what we can do is start wrapping this. Now it's time to enhance this, and all we're going to do is snip off each individual stem. I added a generous amount of hot glue, and all we're going to do is just lift up the ribbon and poke it right in. Up next, we have some dogwood flowers. Now I have this hanging foliage, so we're going to take it, add a little bit of hot glue, just working it underneath the ribbon. To hang this up, I'm going to use some of our wire.
Head to your local Dollar Tree and grab a candlestick, some small plastic plates, a styrofoam block, and some floral pieces. First, you'll want to attach the top of the plate to the candlestick. I just use simple hot glue for this. Then you're going to want to spray paint the piece to the color of your liking. Let it dry completely and then attach the styrofoam block to the finished paper plate. I use B7000 glue for this. Then remove all the stems from the floral pieces using wire cutters. You can then attach these floral pieces into the styrofoam block all around the plate.
Just what I need for my latest project, hula hoops. Take some metallic paint that's made for plastics. I'm going to paint these gold. Now you're going to want to get some kind of a clear sealer spray with a light coat of the glaze. Right here, we're going to drill a hole in each side. I'm going to put one hoop inside the other and try and line up my holes where I have drilled. And I'm going to go outside and push all the way through, and then I'm going to push it through the next one. So I have it through 2 hoops. There we go. I had it through all 3, and then before it slips back off, I'm going to put a nut on that. And when I paint these, this will get painted also. I'm going to take a dollar store decorative cake tray and put a small hole in it. It's on high temperature, and I'm just going to put it right in the middle of there. And that is probably all we need. And now I'm going to try and put this right over top of that. Take some Gorilla Clear Grip contact adhesive to secure the plate right here to my hula hoop. And I'm going to put a generous amount wherever these hoops meet. I have just hung it from my garage door with some wire. So now I can go to work on the easy part. The construction of this was the hard part.
Grab 2 paper towel holders and some faux flowers from the Dollar Tree. Press a foam block down into one of the paper towel holders. Flip the other paper towel holder over and press it into the foam block again. Attach the 2 paper towel holders with some floral wire or some zip ties. Cut the large stems from the faux flowers and start placing the flowers all over the foam block. Grab another foam block and repeat this process. Finish this easy centerpiece by hanging some faux crystals for some extra glam. Hot glue that foam block on top of the paper towel holder.
I grabbed this big hula hoop from Five Below. So I'm going to take this first one, place it there. We're going to do the same thing to a second one, and we're going to place this in an opposite motion. We're going to place this on either end again. Just take our zip tie, and we're going to keep the pointy end towards the surface. We're going to just snip off our ribbon, and now it's time to create the main portion of our bow. So this is non-wired ribbon. It is a little bit different to use as it doesn't hold its shape, but after making about 3 to 5 loops on either side, we're going to have the perfect bow, and that is good enough for me. Let's finish our final loop. To secure our bow, we're going to use a piece of wire. Take our tails that we pre-cut and just tuck them underneath our bow. Twist it secure. We can just secure that right on top of the zip tie and tie that wire together. We're going to just lift up the greenery we've already worked in, tuck it underneath, and use another zip tie to keep that in place.
First, I headed to the Dollar Tree and picked up 2 of these colanders and some zip ties and spray painted both colanders with some spray paint. Next, I used an awl and poked 3 holes in each of the colanders. Starting first on the top colander, I fed a long piece of cotton twine through a hole on the right side and fed it through a hole on the other side. Then I rotated the colander 90 degrees and fed another piece of twine through a hole a few inches from the top. I then placed the other colander on top, then fed the zip ties through those holes, starting on the inside and finishing on the outside. Next, I gathered all my flowers and greenery and started removing them from their bundles and cutting the stems to a shorter length so they would fit better in the ball. Then I started sticking the stems through the holes. Next, I secured everything with hot glue.
I've pre-soaked 1 brick of fresh floral foam. We're going to just take that and wedge it in. Now begins the fun part, and that is going to be carving your foam into kind of a conical or triangular shape. Right here we have some mini carnations, so I'm just going to snip off the top and start placing them. So the biggest ones are sticking out the furthest, and then as we kind of approach the top, we are gradually getting smaller so that we kind of create that conical topiary shape. So to create the very peak of our topiary, we're going to take a carnation, place it sticking straight out, and then we can begin filling in. So I placed a few more pieces to fill in any of the holes where you still see the foams. So we're going to start with some bricks of dry floral foam. This is a glue skillet. And then we'll take those 2 bricks and we're going to stick them together. Now that we've given it a minute, now we can come back in with more hot glue and we're going to secure this to the base of the container. Now we'll give this a minute to harden up. Now we have this beautiful hanging geranium bush. So we're going to start by taking the stem and just working it right into the styrofoam. Up next, we're going to work in some delphinium. Now we have some of these pretty pink flowers. So these are just inexpensive filler bushes. And to bring out a little bit more pink, we're going to use this ranunculus bush. So we're just going to take this whole bush, find the perfect spot, and then we can separate the flowers.
Here I am at Dollar Tree. I'm going to start this project with a couple of grease splatter screens. Take the screen off. We have this little cone, so I'm just going to cut that. So this is just a Dollar Tree candle holder, and we have our piece of foam, and then we have the 2 metal rings. I want to cut Gorilla Clear Grip and hot glue because I want it to stay. You want the pretty side on the outside. A little mini glue stick cut in half gave it a little bit more support, put down in there. And I'm just going to take and wrap that right around a generous amount of hot glue on the back of the acrylic gems. But I think I'd like to add a row of them down here also. I'm going to put hot glue right down on our mirror. And I have one of these small discs of foam like you can get at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to put that right down on there. I have all kinds of these pink Dollar Tree roses, and you're going to cut them off and then add a little dollop of hot glue, and we're just going to stick these right to the foam. I want to put our candle in there.
Head to Dollar Tree and a thrift store to pick up gems, fake flowers, floral foam, margarita glass, and a clear glass bowl. Take the margarita glass and turn it upside down. Glue the bottom of the glass and the bottom of the bowl together. Secure the foam to the base of the bowl and then add flowers and gems around the base.
I picked up 2 of these paper towel holders from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to turn one upside down and I am going to zip tie these together really tightly. So here we are. And I'm just going to cut these off. I'm going to paint my whole thing gold. I bought these 4" by 4" photo frames from the Dollar Tree that have gold glitter around them. And then I bought these mirrors that are 4" by 4". I am going to hot glue them. I'm going to take and glue these to one another and take out all of the little easels that hold up the picture frames. What I'm going to do is put my glue gun on low temperature, and I am going to stick this piece of styrofoam on top of this piece of styrofoam. We're going to take our paper towel holder that we have painted and we're going to push that right down in there. I'm going to add a bead of hot glue and then I'm going to secure it with some S-pins. I have some acrylic crystal drops and some very fine wire, and I'm going to feed some of these acrylic crystal drops onto my wire. And you're going to hang them right on the top part of your paper towel holders, and you're just going to twist that. I have almost a 7" craft foam. Slide it right over top. I'm going to add a bead of low temperature hot glue and some S-pins. I'm just going to take each individual little floret off of them using low temp glue. I'm going to add just a little bit of glue and I'm going to start covering my styrofoam ball. And what I need to do now is decorate this bottom part right here.
Do you have curtain panels that need a little color? Lay your curtain on a flat surface and smooth out any wrinkles or folds. Take a plastic bag, gather the bottom of the bag together, and tie it into a tight knot. Then, turn the plastic bag inside out so the knot is on the inside. Gather the middle of the bag together and blow into the bottom of the bag. With a paintbrush, brush fabric paint onto the bottom of the inflated plastic bag. Press the paint-covered bag bubble onto the fabric panel. Continue to press painted flowers randomly on the curtain panel. Give your flowers some depth by repeating this process with a coordinating color. Next time you are at Walmart, grab a large plastic bowl or pasta bowl and a cereal bowl. Flip the large bowl over and apply a ring of clear adhesive glue around the perimeter of the bowl bottom to secure the two bowls together. Take some decorative rope and hot glue it around the center where the two bowls meet. Fill this bowl with water and add some floating candles.
Let's head over to Dollar Tree and we're going to grab a paper towel holder. Let's all run down to the hardware store and grab us a wood round. Gotta sand the edges, got to condition the wood. Let it dry about 30 minutes to an hour. Once it dries, it's time to put on some stain. We're going to get 3 of those paper towel holders and we're going to set them in place. What we need to do is paint them. Once we get it all painted, let it dry. Now we got to curve the edges a little bit and bend them. Don't bend them too far, just get them a little 20 degrees and we're going to do all 3 at the same angle. Now we're going to put them in place on the bottom of our wood round. And I'm going to take these little electric hooks that I got out of the hardware store and I'm going to put 4 all the way around each side of these circles here. And once I got them marked, I'm going to go ahead and pre-drill. I'm going to go ahead and put little tiny screws in and hold these clips in place. And I'm going to put a little dab of hot glue. And then I'm going to take some twine. I'm going to set it there and then I'm going to start wrapping it all the way around.
Head to Amazon to purchase 12x10 glass wall mirror tiles. Take mirrors outdoors and lay them on a protective surface. Use water to spray all over the mirrors with a spray bottle, and then take the gold and antique pewter spray paint to spray along the outside edges of the mirror tiles. Allow time to dry and then wipe them off with a towel to see the aged finish. Open the pack of wood slices and pick out 8. Take outdoors to spray paint flat black on both sides. Use a level and painter's tape to create a guide to attach the mirrors in an ordered way on the wall. Take adhesive squares and glue that's included with the mirrors to attach to the back of each tile. Then place along the painter tape guideline and work horizontally and then vertically, applying the tiles securely. Once the mirrors have been attached to the wall securely, take the same glue from attaching the mirrors and use it on the back of the wood slices to place in the inside corners of the mirror tiles.
For today's project, I'm going to head down to my local hardware store. I'm going to grab some closet poles that expand. I'm also going to grab some brackets. These poles are really cool. One is larger than the other, but on the end I've got a cap with a screw. I need to take that off. Measure with these poles, put them together from floor to ceiling, and mark the height of my ceiling. And what I'm going to do is I need to put these two together. So I'm going to mark it exactly the height I need, and I need a pre-drill. And then I'm going to attach it back again with the screw. This is going to be perfect size that I need. The next step is I'm going to take the smallest drill bit I can find and pre-drill. Don't push too hard, but you're going to put that first screw in, but don't go all the way because we're going to put that bracket on and slide it into place. Then we can take a pencil and mark exactly where our next screw needs to go. Put the bracket in again like we did before, and then we're going to go ahead and put the screw in. Once we get that first one in, we're going to put the second one. Let's head on inside now. We're going to put that bracket that comes with the poles into the ceiling, and then we're going to pop it into place. Now, let's take some twine because we're going to hang some plants.
My daughter purchased a large television, and wouldn't you know it, her old TV stand was too small. All we really needed for this project was molding and an unfinished wooden top. I laid the board on top of the stand and measured to center it. Using my miter saw, I cut the molding to size. I pre-hammered finishing nails into the molding, added wood glue to the edge of the board, and hammered the molding into place. I continued to measure, glue, and nail molding to all 3 sides of the board. To secure the board to the old stand, I pre-drilled and added screws to the top, then filled the holes with wood fill. I also filled in the edges with wood fill. Once the wood fill was dry, I sanded it smooth. I applied one coat of a dark stain with polyurethane and allowed it to dry. Then I sanded using a fine grit sandpaper. To ensure the stand wouldn't fall over, I bought furniture straps. I measured and screwed one end of the strap to the TV stand, then measured and screwed the other end to the wall. Now the TV fits perfectly and my daughter can still use her old stand.
To make the outside of the crate look better, I want to cover it with some thick jute twine. I'm going to start at the top of the crate and hold the end in place with some hot glue. Then I can just wrap it around the whole way down. I had this heavy old cabinet door though that fits perfectly. I want to start by making the foam just slightly bigger than the door. The best way to cut foam is with an electric knife. So I'm going to lay it down with the pattern side against the table, and then I'm going to place the foam in the middle of it. I can lay the door on top. To hold the fabric fabric in place. I could use an electric stapler, but I find it just as easy to use hot glue. I'm going to hold the ends in place and hot glue these as well.
We're going to start today's DIY with a remote controlled light bulb. So we're going to take that little holster and we're going to glue that to the top with hot glue. And then we're going to put in our light bulb. We're going to take a clamp so that we can add that on top in order to hold your lampshade. Take that finial piece, screw that back on so it's nice and snug. The next time you're at Home Depot, grab yourself 2 of their wooden crates, 4 of their hardware angled top plates, 4 legs in any style or design that you like. To begin, I'm going to take my crate. I'm just going to give it a little light sanding. Then I'm going to use Hollow Hill from Country Chic Paint. Once I've done that, let it dry. I'm going to take some plywood that I pre-cut and I'm just going to give it a stain color. Once I've done that and all my paint is dry, I'm going to go ahead with this pre-glued veneer edging and using a little mini iron, I'm going to iron this on around the edge of the plywood to cover the unfinished edge. I'm going to come in and do the sides of the veneer edging. Next, I'm going to use some Gorilla Wood glue and then I'm going to be putting my wood piece on it. I'm going to clamp it and let this fully dry. Next, I'm going to come in with my angle plate and I'm going to put those at all 4 corners of the plywood. Go ahead and screw on my legs that I bought. Once this is done, I'm going to take my second crate and I'm going to add some Gorilla Wood glue to that as well. And then I'm going to place it on top. Once the glue is set, take my second piece of plywood and I'm going to attach that to the top.
Grab a can of black spray paint and a roll of rattan webbing. Grab one of those outdoor folding metal tables. Clean it up with cut some paper and tape to the table so only the frame shows. Give the frame a fresh coat of black spray paint and let it dry completely. Outline the top of the table onto the rattan webbing with a Sharpie. Cut out the circle with some sharp scissors. Spray one side of the rattan with some spray adhesive. Spray the top of the table and let it sit for a few seconds until the surface is tacky. Place and press the sticky side of the rattan circle onto the top of the table. Place some heavy books on top of the rattan. Use some sharp scissors to trim the excess rattan from the circle. Hand sew a simple over-under stitch around the perimeter of the placemats, but pause about 2/3 of the way through. Stuff polyfill stuffing in between the 2 placemats to whatever thickness you want. Then continue sewing the remaining space with the jute twine and tie off with a knot at the end. Using the upholstery needle and yarn, sew the pom-poms at different points around the perimeter of the pillow.
First, I headed to the Dollar Tree and picked up 2 of these colanders and some zip ties and spray painted both colanders with some spray paint. Next, I used an awl and poked 3 holes in each of the colanders. Starting first on the top colander, I fed a long piece of cotton twine through a hole on the right side and fed it through a hole on the other side. Then I rotated the colander 90 degrees and fed another piece of twine through a hole a few inches from the top. I then placed the other colander on top, then fed the zip ties through those holes, starting on the inside and finishing on the outside. Next, I gathered all my flowers and greenery and started removing them from their bundles and cutting the stems to a shorter length so they would fit better in the ball. Then I started sticking the stems through the holes. Next, I secured everything with hot glue.
Time to break out of jail. That is, the Walmart ball jail. You also need some green reindeer moss. Start by spray painting the Walmart ball with moss green spray paint. Separate the large pieces and stretch out any chunks that are thick. With a can of general spray adhesive, spritz a small portion of the ball with the adhesive. Take a small patch of green moss and press it onto the ball in the sticky area. Press and hold for a few seconds to make sure it sticks. Continue to spray the ball and attach the green moss to the outside. Once you cover the entire ball with spray adhesive and moss, give the entire moss-covered ball an overall coat of the spray adhesive.
first things first, grab one of these dollar store or Walmart plastic balls, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna gather the fabric. Pull that fabric nice and tight. Then you're gonna grab a zip tie and secure the fabric at the top. Now we're gonna cut off all of this excess fabric. I'm gonna take the ribbon, place it at the top, and then take that zip tie and place it around the ball. Now we're gonna take this greenery. We're gonna start by breaking down a few branches. Now we're gonna just dip this in our glue skillet and apply it straight to the fabric. So now, as you can see, we found a few adorable starfish as well as some seashells on my table. We're gonna just dip these in our glue skillet and glue them right in place. I grabbed a plastic bouncy ball and 1 yard of fabric from my local Walmart. We then can place the ball directly in the middle and start gathering. Take your zip tie, secure it like that, and then you can start pulling it through. Snip off the excess zip tie and then remove the excess fabric. We're gonna take our clippers and just snip off each stem individually. Now what we can start doing is adding hot glue to our stems and sticking them right into the fabric. Now that we've worked in all of our flowers, it's time to come back in with a little bit of moss. Add a little bit of hot glue and just gonna poke it right in. I picked up some of these miniature monarch butterflies from the warehouse and we're gonna work these in. I think these are gonna be the perfect touch. To hang this, I'm gonna use a piece of this brown wire and that centrally focused flower that we added a lot of hot glue to. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that wire and twist it tight, secured to that flower, and that will support the weight of the ball.
I grabbed 2 hanging baskets and liners from Dollar Tree for this epic garden project. I unclipped the chains off of one of the baskets and placed the liners in each basket. Next, I used sharp scissors to cut a slit in the middle of each section and in the center hole at the bottom. Then I grabbed some petunias from my local garden center and carefully placed them into each hole. Planting from the outside worked best for me. I set it aside and repeated the same steps for the second basket. Next, I filled the center of each basket with potting soil and watered it. I gently placed one basket on top of the other and secured them together using 4 black zip ties. At that point, I decided to add in a few more flowers on the edge where the baskets meet.
I found one of these larger ones for $2.50. We're going to be using this vinyl tablecloth. So we're just going to gather up our fabric, going to take our scissors and cut it off. I'm actually going to string 2 zip ties together, and what we're going to do is gather our fabric. So now that we have our little cluster of fabric secured, what we can do then is take our zip tie and tie it off. Cut the excess zip tie off. All I've been doing is just pulling a little bit, piece by piece, of the top until we have that nice pleating. So we're just going to snip all of that excess off. Take our ribbon, I'm just going to take it and place it right here and secure it once more with a zip tie. Now it's time to add some flowers. Dip them in our glue skillet and I'm placing it on the inside of this. So now we cut off the individual leaves, and what we can do then is just poke them right in. So then we can take a few more of these wisteria stems. Now we have some of these beautiful pink roses.
I ran down to Home Depot and picked up some beautiful flowers as well as 2 of these different hanging baskets. I removed the chain from both of the baskets and ended up removing the insert from one of the baskets. I opened everything up, placed my flowers inside, closed it again with the top frame on the top, lined up the holes, and added zip ties to hold everything together securely. My next step was to add the lights. These are solar powered lights, so they'll work great when I use them outside. Once it was all wrapped and ready, I was able to just let it sit in the sun for a few hours so that it could charge up.
The next time you are at your local dollar store, pick up some wire garden hanging baskets. Turn one wire basket upside down and place on top of a second basket. Secure together by using 3 zip ties that are placed equidistant from each other. Take a string of LED lights, hang the battery box inside the basket globe and connect to the top. Turn the lights on and wrap the lights evenly around the globe, both vertically and horizontally. Secure the end of the light string to the basket using a twist tie. Using a leafy garland of your choice, start to tuck and glue the different leaves to the wire basket globe. Now, remember all those chains and hooks that you removed from the baskets? Let's put them to good use. Reconnect these chains of different lengths to the hooks and tighten the hook back together using some pliers. If you have a porch swing, here is a fun way to hang the globes without drilling additional holes into your porch ceiling. Thread the stick through your porch swing ceiling hooks to create a horizontal rod.
I'm gonna grab me some solar lights. Next, head over to the hardware store. I'm gonna grab me about 100 feet of nylon rope. First thing I gotta do is blow up this dollar beach ball. Then I gotta get out some Portland cement. Make sure it's not concrete, but cement. You want it actually really thin because we need to coat that rope. Now, on that beach ball, just start laying that rope. You're just gonna start roping it all the way around. Once you get to the end, what you're gonna do is tuck that last bit in underneath the rope. It's gonna hold it in place. Then what we can do is move on to possibly adding a little bit more cement. Make sure you cover all that rope. We want it to stiffen up as best we can. Let it sit for a couple hours once we get it covered. Once it's covered, take a knife and just puncture the beach ball. Once we get it all the air out, just go ahead and pull it through one of the bigger openings between the ropes. Now, I want to clean it up. Took a little bit of a plastic fork and just clean up the edges. Don't want anything flaking off. Take a squirt bottle and start squirting all the string, and you're just going to powder it with the cement. Just keep doing that all over. What this does is make it thicker and strengthen it up. We're going to grab that dollar light again. Take out the bottom part. You're going to turn it around, put it in, and that's what's going to stick into the ground. Go ahead and put it right into the ground, right in the area you want to put it. And then you're going to take your string orb and you're going to put it right over the light, right in the middle, and lay it on down.
So I picked up a couple of these dollar store solar lights and I'm gonna take them apart. I just need that kind of crystal plastic part and the top. So I'm gonna cover the light bulb on the bottom and then I'm gonna cover the solar panel on top and then use a craft knife to cut around it so you get perfectly straight lines. This is a 7-inch basic embroidery hoop. So I'm gonna untwist this screw and put that aside. I'm taking them outside and I am adding a couple coats of a matte black spray paint. Make sure they're fully dry to the touch and now we can assemble. So first we want to remove the painter's tape so that these solar lights work. On the clear plastic part, there are 2 little clips that help attach it to the top. And I'm just going to take some floral wire and wrap it around each one of those clips. Wrap it nice and tight so it hugs the plastic closely. And then I'm able to screw the black part back on top and the wire is still going to hang out either side. I picked this chain up at the craft store. It is actually in the jewelry section. I'm going to thread the chain through the screw and tighten it about halfway. The solar light is going to hang from the inside hoop. So I'm just going to use my floral wire and wrap it around that hoop. Now I can put this middle hoop, the smaller hoop, back inside the larger one. Now once everything's in place, I can tighten this screw.
Have you ever wanted to be more self-sufficient, but also stay on budget? Well, go ahead and head out to your local Walmart and grab one of these plastic drawer sets. Then get yourself some good quality seed starting mix and go ahead and moisten it up. A lot of the times when it comes out of the bag, it's super dry and you can't really do anything with that. Once you got your seed starting mix moistened, and you're going to want to grab a dry erase marker and label the 3 drawers on the bin that you bought. Once you've done that, set out some seed starting pots. These can be things that you've bought, or you can make them out of toilet paper tubes or newspaper. It doesn't have to be fancy. And go ahead and fill them about 3/4 of the way up with some of that moist potting soil or seed starting mix. You're going to take some seeds of your choosing and you are going to place a seed or 2 in each of the pots. Now, and then take a few popsicle sticks and label them with what the seeds are. Next, you're going to take these full seed starting cups and you're going to place them inside those drawers. This is so perfect. The drawers are plastic, so you'll be able to water them right in the drawer and place them in a sunny spot, or at least a place that gets partial sun. And before you know it, just wait and see, you'll come outside and you'll find that you have some seeds that are sprouting and plants that are growing. It really is kind of like magic.
Grab one of these 3-drawer bins from Walmart and we are going to dress this up. I picked up some half-round pieces of wood and I need to cut them down to roughly 4.5 inches each. Now it's time to attach them to the drawers. I want to cover the front of the drawer to give this kind of a natural boho look. I picked up a multi-surface glue, so this is going to work really well on wood and plastic, and it dries clear. So I'm just going to put a dab of glue on each piece of wood. and put them all the way across the drawer. Now that everything's dry, I'm going to take this outside and add a coat of spray paint. I'm opting for a real neutral beige color, and I'm going to cover the front of the drawer and the wood. I opted to leave the rest of the drawer set white. I really like the contrast between the beige and the white, and I think these drawers look so good. It is such an upgrade from the basic drawer set that I had originally.
Let's run on down to Walmart, and it's time to grab your favorite inexpensive bucket. We got to get those handles off. We don't need those. Take them off both sides. They clip right off. Next, we're going to take that bucket and flip it over. We need to set in 2 strips of wood that are going to fit right on the edge. Just go ahead and set it down there. No need for a tape measure, and just mark it with a pencil. What you're going to need is definitely 2 of these. Just use your favorite saw. It's easy to do. Next, stick them on there. Make sure they fit just right inside the grooves. Then you can use some hot glue. Just 3 good dabs on the edge will do it. Just flip it over and press it against the plastic. Now I know what you're thinking. This glue does not hold permanently. That's okay. We just need it to hold until we can flip it back over. So do that to both pieces right on the edge and just hold it down till it sets. Takes about 20 seconds. Next, flip the bucket over, and what you're going to do is grab just some small little screws. They don't need to be long. We don't want them to pop out through the end of the wood. So just take your drill and put it right in. 2 or 3 in each strip of wood will be just right. Just put it in there, don't over tighten, and that's going to hold it in place. Now it's time to put on the wheels. I got these little inexpensive caster wheels, but I need the drill bit to be just the right size, and we're going to mark it 1 inch from each side of the wood. We're going to put 4 of these legs on. So once you get them marked, let's go ahead and we're going to drill it. You can just drill all the way through the plastic. It's not going to be a problem because when we set the leg in, it's going to block the hole. So these little wheels are perfect. Now it's time to take that hot glue, put it right on the edge of the hole there, and put the leg on. It's going to hold it just great. Now, if you don't want to use hot glue and you want a little different glue, go ahead. It'll work also. Just let it set up. I like using hot glue because it's fast. Once we get the legs in, look at this. They are excellent. Exactly what we need. Now it's time to go ahead and decorate the bucket. I grabbed this twine over at Dollar Tree. Just take again our favorite hot glue, put it right on the edge. This is our starter piece. Just stick it right on there. You want to make sure this first row is perfect. I use the edge of this bucket right on this line, and that's going to be what I call my datum line. Just go ahead and set it all the way around, and we're going to go around the whole bucket. Once you get that on, it's time to take a little bit of your inexpensive fabric, cut about 12 inches wide. We're going to use that hot glue again, and we're going to fold over the edge. That's going to give us a nice edge to finish this off. What I did was I just worked my way down with that hot glue and kept folding it over. Be careful because it can get a little hot. Once we get both edges nice and done, what we're going to do is fold it over the bucket. It's going to cover all that plastic. Get that glue right on that last bit of rope right there. Spread it over and just mark it down right there. We're going to take this all the way around the bucket, and look at this. This is going to be a great container. We can store books, dog toys, or even toys for the grandkids. It turned out great.
I have these plastic storage drawers and I'm tired of seeing the things inside. To start, I want to paint the front of the drawers. Since their surface is quite slick, I'm going to go ahead and give them a quick sanding with a medium grit sandpaper first. Now it's time to paint. The drawers will need 2 coats of paint, and I'm going to use a blue and then a green to match this beautiful contact paper. I want to make sure to paint right up and under the handle. This will cover all of the front parts so that I can't see all of the supplies in the drawers. I also want to paint the handles so that when I add the contact paper, none of the white from the handle will be peeking through. Now that both coats of paint have dried, I'm going to add the contact paper to the handles. I'm measuring and trimming the first piece, and once it fits well, I'm going to use it as a template to cut the rest of the pieces I need. The back comes off when I'm ready, and it's super easy to stick right over the paint. These storage drawers are already looking so much better. I think it'll be fun to add the same contact paper to the top of the drawers as well. I'm going to cut a piece large enough to cover the entire top. The top of my drawers actually has 2 levels, so I'm going to start with the edge around first. I'm going to stick down the contact paper, and then I'm going to use this utility knife to trim out the middle that's lower. By running the knife around the edge, I can trim up the paper as well as the edges. With the edge piece done, I want to fill the middle as well. I'm going to lay down a smaller piece of contact paper and then use the same utility knife to trim off the edges. To finish off my storage drawers, I want to add some cute little labels so that I know what's inside each drawer. I love these little chalkboard sticker labels, and they're perfect to add to the side of each drawer. I'm thrilled that I no longer have to look at the supplies in these drawers. With this chic makeover, it looks so much better. I hope this has inspired you to give your storage drawers a makeover too.
Grab a plastic bin from Walmart for this project. I'm going to start by drilling a few holes into the side of the bin. This is going to be for handles down the road. Then I'm going to flip the bin over and I'm going to drill 4 holes, one in each corner of the plastic bin. I want to dress this bin up, so I picked up some gray and white patterned fabric and I've cut it down to size so that it is the right height of the bin. Now I'm going to use some spray adhesive to adhere the fabric to the plastic. When I get to the corners, I am going to cut up the side, and then I can just fold these 2 pieces over each other, creating a really nice looking seam. To add the handles, I'm going to locate the hole that I drilled with my finger and then just poke through the fabric with a pair of scissors. Now I can thread the jute through and tie a knot on the inside to secure it in place. Now I'm going to add some feet to the bottom to raise this up off the ground and just make it look a little nicer. And there you have it. I have a really nice looking bin that I can keep out in the open. It looks so much better than your basic plastic bin, and I can store all kinds of stuff in here.
I have the storage container and I'd love to use it for my office supplies, but I really don't want to see what's inside. I'm starting by giving the container a quick sanding so that the surface is a little rougher. To make the outside look a little better, I want to add some clay designs before I do anything else. I always dust my molds with cornstarch before adding the air dry clay, so that it releases easily when I'm done. I'm just going to keep adding clay until the mold is slightly overfilled. To remove the excess clay, I'm going to take an old ruler and just run it from the middle of the design to the outside edge. Now it's time to release the clay. Look at that beautiful flower and all those details. For right now, I'm just going to lay the clay where I want it. I've gone ahead and made some more impressions, and I'm going to lay them all out on the side of the container. Now that I've decided where I want the impressions, I'm using some tacky glue to stick them in place. Once they're all glued, I'm just going to leave this to dry overnight. With the clay stuck in place and dry, it's time to paint them. I've chosen a silver spray paint for the first coat. This is going to cover the clear container and provide a really nice background. Now that the silver spray paint is dry, it's time to give the container a beautiful faux stone look. I'm using stone spray. It's a textured spray with different shades of beiges to give the look of stone. The trick with this spray is to do a lot of light coats. Each coat has to dry, and then the next extra coat will help to build up that faux stone. I think this box and the texture are so fun. I love that what's inside is hidden now as well. The next time you're at the dollar store, grab one of these inexpensive plastic bins and give it a farmhouse makeover.
I want to give this storage piece a farmhouse feel, so I headed to my paint supplies and grabbed some sandpaper and white paint. Before painting the bin though, I want to make sure that the surface is roughed up a bit, so I'm going to give it a quick sanding with some medium grit sandpaper. Now that the bin is ready, I'm going to give it a coat of white paint. I'm not going to go and paint the inside of the bin because I actually like the gray and it'll match the dresser next to where it will be. To create the farmhouse look that I want, I'm going to add some faux wood grain. I'm using a chip brush because of its uneven bristles and some brown glaze. Only a little bit of the glaze is needed on the brush, and then I just lightly sweep it across the surface. This creates the faux wood, and I can even create some faux knots with the glaze as well. If I want to soften up the lines, just this damp paper towel is all that I need. Once I've finished all the sides with the glaze and the faux wood grain, I'm going to leave it to dry overnight. Now that the paint and glaze are completely dry, I want to fancy up the handles a little bit. I've grabbed some of this thick twine and I'm going to wrap it around each one. I'm going to use a little dab of hot glue to hold each of the ends in place. I love the rustic touch the twine gives to the bin.
I love how pretty this plastic bin looks now. You wouldn't even know it's the same one. A little bit of paint and it was easy to do. I hope this has inspired you to give your plastic bins a makeover as well. Thank you so much for watching Home Talk. I'll see you next time.